Today, we're exploring some of China's scientific and cultural innovations and contributions to the world, and examining some of the ways in which China and Britain have interlocked. Around the time of the Beijing Olympics in 2008, the London Mayor Boris Johnson claimed that the Chinese were incapable of original thought. Now, you've heard me go on about this before, but I've actually found the full quote here. He said, "Chinese cultural influence is virtually nil and unlikely to increase. Indeed, high Chinese culture and art are almost all imitative of Western forms. Chinese concert pianists are technically brilliant, but brilliant at Schubert and Rachmaninoff. Chinese ballerinas dance to the scores of Diaghilev. The number of Chinese Nobel Prizes won on home turf is zero, although there are, of course, legions of bright Chinese trying to escape to Stanford and Caltech. It's hard to think of a single Chinese sport at the Olympics compared with umpteen invented by Britain, including ping pong. I'll have you know, which originated at upper-class dinner tables and was first called whiff-waff. The Chinese have a script so fiendishly complicated that they cannot produce a proper keyboard for it." Discuss. Was that provocative or what? That statement, of course, predates the charm offensive mounted by Boris on last year's trip to China, where finally made aware of China's progress in all manner of things, not to mention the tons of moolah seemingly sloshing about. He did a reverse ferret now to Boris Johnson and David Cameron. China is El Dorado, Shangri-La and ancient Rome all into one. Was he correct, though, to say that all the Chinese could do was copy rather than innovate? Because that's been something that I've recognised all my life, that, you know, whatever the Chinese do, it's a Xerox, it's a copy. Now, human history, it has to amount to more than a crude national chauvinism, and I'm really, really sort of loath to say, oh, well, this was brilliant and that was rubbish. All these things are cyclical. In recent years, the Chinese themselves recognised limitations in their ability to innovate, and they've welcomed an explosion in the literary genre of science fiction, as they noticed that the major heads of the big tech companies, such as Apple's Steve Jobs and Microsoft's Bill Gates, all read science fiction from childhood on. There's a conscious effort to stimulate imaginative thinking in their industries, and that particular solution, I think, is an impressively imaginative strategy in itself, if you're trying to get yourself out of that hole.